The heavy silence of Lanford was broken only by the rhythmic ticking of the kitchen clock, a sound that seemed louder now that the world outside had ground to a halt. Inside the Connor household, the air was thick with the scent of pine cleaner and the lingering anxiety of a global pandemic. Dan Connor sat at the scarred wooden table, his large frame hunched over a cup of coffee that had long since gone cold. "Hold it right there," a young voice commanded with the gravity of a frontier lawman. Dan did not flinch. He slowly looked up to see his grandson, Mark, standing in the doorway with a plastic thermometer gun held like a loaded weapon. "Well, Sheriff," Dan drawled, a small smirk playing on his weary face. "I hear you are pretty fast with that there thermometer gun. But someday, somebody is going to come along that is going to be faster." Mark did not blink. "You say that every day, Grandpa, and I still do not know what it means. Don't move." He clicked the trigger, and a red laser danced across Dan's forehead. After a moment, the device let out a sharp beep. "Okay, it is normal. You passed the first test. Now, tell me the truth. Are you coughing, sneezing, or experiencing diarrhea? And please, answer exactly in that order." "No," Dan grunted, finally reaching for his mug. "Though the bank statement gave me a bit of a stomach turn this morning." Suddenly, Harris drifted into the kitchen, her eyes fixed on her phone. She moved toward the refrigerator with the grace of a ghost, nearly stepping on Dan's feet. "Move it or lose it, Harris," Dan warned. "You are standing right in my easy-to-reach-a-beer spot." "Sorry, last chair," Harris replied with a roll of her eyes. She leaned against the counter, sighing heavily. "Tell little psycho boy to stop making us sit 6 feet apart at the table. It is like eating in a high-security prison, only with worse food." Mark looked up from his clipboard. "You could sit on the beer if you want, Harris. It is technically outside the social distance zone." "Oh, Mom, you are 99 degrees. He thrust the thermometer toward Darlene as she entered the room. "Can you smell this piece of toast?" "I do not want to smell it, Mark," Darlene groaned, batting it away. "It is bad enough I have to eat it. Excuse me, does anyone want to socially distance their asses so I can come back in the room? If not, can I please have another serving of mashed potatoes? I am eating my feelings today." Becky slid a bowl toward her sister from across the table. "Thank you," Darlene muttered, but as she reached for it, a large glob of potato hit the linoleum floor. "Damn it. Don't worry, I will eat it," Becky said quickly, scooping it up. "Too good to go to waste. You know, the best part about this damn pandemic is having you in our bubble cooking for us, Darlene. That is the best thing. You know what I mean." Darlene stared at her sister with a mixture of pity and exhaustion. "Becky, take my spot. I cannot eat and watch you do that. I have standards, even in a global crisis." "Dibs," Harris shouted, sliding into the warm chair before Becky could move. The room grew quiet for a moment as the reality of their situation settled back in. Darlene looked at her father. "So, Dad, have you heard anything from the bank? I mean, they cannot take our house during COVID, can they? Is there some kind of moratorium on being a jerk?" Dan sighed, his fingers tracing the wood grain of the table. "They are so busy repossessing other houses, Darlene. Maybe they will just forget about us. We are the small fish in a very big, very bankrupt pond." "Yeah, they have their pick," Becky added sarcastically. "Hey, should we grab that 4-bedroom Cape Cod or Tobacco Road over there with the chicken coop out back? I hear the chickens are great neighbors. They do not ask for rent." A knock at the door interrupted them. Mark hurried to the window. "Is Aunt Jackie here? I saw you ride up on your bike." Jackie burst into the kitchen, her eyes wild behind a plastic face shield. "Show me your test result right here," she demanded, pointing at Mark. Mark pulled a crumpled slip of paper from his pocket. "See? Negative." Jackie squinted at the paper, then jumped back 3 feet. "That is last week's test. Holy cow. I will just leave right now." "I am in," Mark shouted, trying to follow her. "You delivered food to dozens of people today? You have to go first. I eat disinfectant, and I crap sanitizer." Jackie roared, pointing a gloved finger at him. "Do your worst, or get out of my way, Junior. I am a frontline hero of falafels." She gestured to a pile of grocery bags on the counter. "What is that?" "Tony Falafels closed down," Dan explained. "So he had an inventory sale in his parking lot. Hummus, olives, chickpeas, grape leaves. The works." Jackie peered into the bags. "Sounds like what animals eat to become food. Man, restaurants are dropping like flies. I am not letting anything happen to the lunchbox. I have bailed on too many careers in my life. I was a cop. I was a trucker. I got shot. I quit. I fell asleep at the wheel. I quit. And by the way, I fell asleep at the wheel as a cop, and I got shot as a trucker. She paused, looking at a local newspaper on the table. Oh my stars and garters. Wellman Plastics is reopening. They are hiring 200 people. Becky perked up. Is not that where you and Roseanne used to work, Jackie? Yep, Jackie said, her voice dropping into a nostalgic register. Look, it says they are making up for the plastic slowdown out of China. Game over, China. Wellman is back in the game. Darlene looked thoughtful. I remember visiting you guys at work when I was little, watching you robotically doing the same job over and over and thinking, wow, it must really suck to be an adult. And it does, Dan confirmed with a heavy nod. That is going to be a hell of a place to work, Ben noted, walking into the kitchen with a mask dangling from one ear. With people shoulder to shoulder on that assembly line, it is going to be way too easy to catch something. Jackie waved a hand dismissively. Yeah, I was always too easy. I caught something once from the supervisor, Booker, but it was worth it. He looked just like George Clooney. Dan smirked at her. So, Jackie, do you care to make a friendly wager? Yeah, Jackie said, her competitive streak flaring. If I win, then you have to spend the night at my place. Dan laughed. I have got a 160 average, Jackie. There is no way you are going to beat me. All right, Jackie countered. What if you win? Then you spend the night at my place, Dan said, his eyes narrowing. Scrubbing my bathroom. Jackie winced. Oh man, I should have hit that until I broke it. Fine. Later that afternoon, a knock sounded at the front door. Let the old guy get it, Darlene said. If it is death, I am kissing him right on the mouth. At least it will be an interesting way to go. It was Tito, the neighbor. Dan opened the door, leaning against the frame. Hey neighbor, how you doing, man? I have not seen you in a dog age. Tito looked nervous, clutching a manila envelope. I have been in the house, Dan. You know how it is. Listen, I got a guy working on my roof, and I think he is trying to screw me. Could you look over this contract? Just help me out. Sure thing. Be happy to, Dan said, taking the paper. He scanned the first few lines, his face falling. Tito, this is an eviction notice. Tito's expression turned cold. Yeah, you have been served, Dan. You son of a gun. Dan yelled as Tito retreated toward the sidewalk. I am sorry, Tito shouted back. I have been out of work. I need money for hospital bills. My son tried to do one of those internet videos where he dances alongside a moving car. Oh, he is progressing well, Dan. Yesterday, he said the word cat. Dan stood on the porch, trembling with rage. Would this be the wrong time to ask for my mower back? Hold on, it is right behind the door. Tito yelled back before disappearing into his house. Darlene walked back into the kitchen, where Louise was staring into the refrigerator. Do you know what happened to the rest of my wine? I had like half a bottle of it left. Darlene shrugged. Oh, sorry, you are new here. House rules. If it is red, keep it under the bed. If it is white, drink it until it is bright. Besides, who drinks only half a bottle anyway? Louise sighed, closing the fridge. It is like living with bears. Yesterday I put my plate down, went to get a napkin, and someone ate the meat out of my sandwich. That is Harris, Darlene explained. She is cutting back on carbs. Efficiency, Louise. That is how we survive. Are you working? Louise asked, gesturing toward Darlene's laptop. Uh-huh, Darlene replied. How do I do that with all this craziness in the house? Well, Ben and I are starting a magazine. It is about criminals and shady people. I used the family for inspiration, and I started drinking a lot. It is a very sustainable business model. Your family stole my Merlot, Louise noted flatly. Dan walked back in, still fuming. I want you to go out there and beat him up, Darlene. Oh yeah, Darlene said to Louise. I forgot to mention, if the wine is red, I know exactly where it is. Becky pointed to the paper in Dan's hand. What is that? Eviction notice, Dan said, the anger replaced by a hollow exhaustion. I got 5 days until the sheriff locks us out. Louise stepped forward, her voice soft. Well, worst comes to worst. Dan, you can come stay with me. What about the rest of the baseball team that lives here? Dan asked, gesturing to the crowded room. Yeah, well, I cannot go anywhere. But you know what? You are good-looking enough to get yourself a rich guy, Louise. I am not leaving you, Dan. Louise said firmly. No, Dan joked weakly. I meant we should lure Lauren back here so we could rob him together. Ben entered the kitchen, carrying a small package. Hey, I bought some vegan cheese to go with Louise's wine. Where is it? Darlene took the cheese. Well, if you give me some cheese, Ben, I will make sure to spend some time with the wine. It is all about the pairings. Ben's face was grim. Well, I am just glad you are liquored up, because the premiere issue of Lanford Exposed just lost its last big advertiser. You have got to be kidding me. Darlene cried. There has got to be somebody else. No, Ben said. Businesses are not advertising because people are not spending. Everybody is just staying home, watching reruns of The Nanny, and scarfing antidepressants. I think that is just you, Ben, Darlene countered. I just finished that article about how banks are screwing people over just when they need help the most. It is like the best thing I have ever written. We cannot let it die. I guess we could hit up the smaller businesses, Ben suggested. Sell smaller ads and make it up in volume. That is such a great idea, Darlene said, her energy returning. Yeah, and we will double team them. I will go out there with you and knock on some doors too. Okay, well, that could work, Ben agreed. And a mask will hide your general contempt for humanity. At the lunchbox restaurant, Becky was loading brown paper bags. Okay, ready for more deliveries. Emilio stepped out of the kitchen, looking concerned. You cannot make all those deliveries by yourself, Becky. Well, who else is going to do it? We cannot afford a delivery service. And besides, my calves are getting to be like steel cables. Thanks, Emilio. How come the bags are all stapled closed? Emilio chuckled. Oh, because the delivery person keeps eating the fries. Customers describe her as a greasy-mouthed woman with giant calves. Becky sighed. Well, that is the problem with this country. We are in the middle of a pandemic and people are counting their fries. Emilio, you should not be out here in the front. Somebody from immigration might see you. Do you know how long it has been since I felt the sun on my face? Emilio asked. I am starting to look like a white guy. I could probably get a loan for a house right now. We are officially married, Becky reminded him. So they're going to have to look at my credit too. That is not going to happen. That is okay, Emilio said, looking at Beverly Rose in her high chair. Beverly Rose, you will be my sunshine. A voice called from the front door. Pick up for Steve Wiseman. It is those bags right there, Becky shouted. Can you grab it for me? Sure thing, dude, the man said. He walked up to the counter, revealing a police uniform. I will get it. Yeah, here you go, officer. Have a great day. Emilio froze, but Becky kept her cool. Yeah, here you go, officer. Have a great day. Thanks, the officer said. Oh, and by the way, the food here has gotten way better in the last few weeks. Whatever you are doing, keep it up. Oh, yes. Emilio spoke up, his voice steady. That would be me. I am the new chef. Jazz Johnson. Jazz Johnson. Jackie hissed as soon as the cop walked out. Jazz Johnson, why would you take a chance like that? You made me nervous, and Becky, you are being paranoid. I lived here for years before I met you, Emilio argued. And I did not have a problem. What are you talking about? Becky cried. You got deported. I only married you so you could come here legally in a couple years. If they catch you here now, you will be banned forever. But what if I go back and they do not let me back in? Emilio asked. They keep changing the rules. Do you really trust this government not to do it again? Becky looked down at her hands. No, I guess I do not. And you have that nice cozy basement with my child in it, Emilio added. I am not ready to tell my family yet, Becky said. And we do not need to live together. We are not a couple. Whatever happened to that nice little drunk girl I made love to in a freezer? Oh, do not romanticize it, Becky snapped. I had to hold on to a side of beef just to keep my balance. On a construction site, Dan was struggling with a heavy sheet of drywall. His face was a shade of red that matched his flannel shirt. What the heck are you doing? Jackie asked, walking up to him. Working, Dan grunted, refusing to look at her. Well, you should not be doing that alone. Where is your crew? Dan leaned against the studs. Do you want to get coffee? All of them, right? When you need to unload drywall from the truck, they promised to bring me a frappuccino. I am fine, Jackie. All right, I can wait, Jackie said, crossing her arms. I have to stretch these big boys out anyway. 1,999. Jackie, just go, Dan pleaded. No, not until you tell me the truth. Dan looked around the empty, unfinished room. I laid off my crew because I need to make all the money myself. I got the eviction notice. I am at the end of my rope. Oh boy, Jackie whispered. I do not have time to chit-chat, Dan said, picking up his tools. I have to go to work. But you cannot be doing this by yourself, Dan. You are going to have a heart attack. Just go, Dan said firmly. All right, fine. Fine. Here is your lunch. Where do you think you will fall? Probably straight back. Hand clutches the heart. The other one goes out. So I guess right about there. Jackie pointed to a spot on the floor and walked away. Later that evening, Dan was sprawled in his recliner, his eyes closed. Darlene walked in. Hey, Dad. I picked up the kind of beer you like. The big kind. Dan did not move. I just now got comfortable. How about one of my wonderful daughters sliding that over to me? There you go, Darlene said, placing it on the side table. Just give me the damn beer, Dan groaned. I am hurt. Darlene's face changed instantly. Are you? Oh my God, Becky. Dad is hurt. Becky rushed into the room. Well, what happened, Father? I hope you were not dry-walling by yourself like a complete idiot. Jackie should have never told you, Dan muttered. It is none of your business. Yes, it is, Darlene argued. Because if you get thrown out, we get thrown out. Now, we are wasting time right now. Becky could be out there selling her body on the street. Oh, you really think so? Becky asked. Thanks. It is tough to keep in hooker shape. Dan sat up, wincing. This conversation is over. Come on, Dad, Darlene pleaded. Let us help you with the mortgage. You are out of options. You are like the captain of the Titanic. It is time to throw on a dress and sneak into the lifeboat. Please, let us not wait until the sheriff is knocking at the door, Becky said. Let us pay rent. It is me, Ben, Becky, Harris. We will make it work. Jackie walked in, looking stern. Hey, lay off your dad. He works his tail off, and now he is hurting. And you know what a stupid, stubborn, prideful man he is. He would rather put you all out on the street than let you help him in any way. Dan looked at the floor, his pride finally cracking. I started out so good. All right, I have no choice. I will take your rent. Finally. By the way, I am going to be a couple weeks late, Darlene added quickly. Me too, Becky said. And when you decide who pays what, just remember my baby and I live down there in Steerage. Oh, and I am going to drink this because you lied to us. Ben and Darlene were walking through a parking lot. Hey, how did you do? Darlene asked. You sell any ads? Well, Ben started. I did run into the Whalen family in the parking lot, and they are going to buy an ad. Joyous congratulations to Jacob on his streaming bar mitzvah, and rest in peace to Munikim, the best poodle ever. Boy, that has been a real roller coaster for that family, Darlene noted. Please tell me you did better than I did. Well, in fact, I did, Ben said. I got. Drum roll, please. Bill lawn mower repair. Yes, Darlene cheered. And the best part is, he wants to pay us in lawn mower repair. Well, that is great, Darlene sighed. Because we may need to start mowing lawns. I am so sorry, baby, but I do not think there is any saving this thing. We are almost broke. You ready to call it? Ugh, Darlene groaned. I cannot believe this. Every time I thought about my future, the magazine was part of it. This is like my future is over. Well, you can still find something else that you could use your writing for, Ben offered. No, stop, Darlene said. No more writing. It is like ruining my life. I am staring down a stack of overdue bills. I just told my dad we would start paying rent. Say what now? It is time to get a real job, Ben. You know, I should have known this magazine thing was going to fall apart, Ben said. By the way, thanks for the false hope. Oh, I am sorry, Darlene snapped. I know this has been hard on you, but it has been a great ride for me. I lost my business. I have gone through my savings, and I am sleeping in your childhood bed. But hey, at least I have your sour face to look at. Darlene's expression softened. I am just scared, you know. There is like not a lot of jobs out there. Well, Ben mused. You could be a bouncer at one of those big box stores. They are looking for greeters who will take down the customers who won't wear masks. That is not a job, Darlene said. I do that for free. Darlene was standing in a long line on a sidewalk. Hey, she said to the person in front of her. Is this the line to apply for jobs for Wellman Plastics? No, it is a soup kitchen line that started during the Great Depression, the man replied. Service is just slow. Thanks. I hope I end up next to you online, Darlene joked. You seem fun. Darlene, a voice called from behind. Darlene turned to see Becky. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Becky countered. Jackie told me she cannot afford to give me a salary for the lunchbox right now, so I am applying for a job. Go ahead, call me a loser. Okay, you are a loser, Darlene said. I'm actually here to get a job too. The magazine folded. Then why did you call me a loser? Because it was free, Darlene shrugged. But wait, if you were working here, who was going to watch the baby? Not a clue, Becky admitted. Man, would not it be perfect timing if Emilio were here? Haha, no, Darlene laughed. Emilio being here would be a total disaster. Oh no, Becky whispered. Emilio is here. It is okay, Becky said quickly. He is going to watch Beverly Rose at the restaurant while he hides out from the authorities. But do not tell Dad. He won't understand. We are going to hold the line up a bit until we get the folks inside taken care of, a security guard announced. And then we will start it up again. Ugh, all right, Darlene said. I won't tell Dad about Emilio if you let me wear Mom Old Wellman's shirt. That is a brilliant suck-up idea for the interview. No way, Becky said. Why aren't you trying to get another writing job? Because I have got 25 years of failure telling me that that is the wrong direction, Darlene said, her voice cracking. And when I moved back in with Mom and Dad, I didn't think I could go any lower. And then I chased this stupid magazine into the ground. I mean, like, what is wrong with me? No one wants me to be a writer. Take a hint. She looked at her sister. You know, it is like if I had done anything else, I would not be standing on this line starting over. As the older sister, I guess I could have been a better role model. At least I am ahead of you in line, Becky noted. Mom worked here. Maybe it will be okay. No, Darlene argued. We are supposed to do better than our parents. We are not supposed to be going backwards. We are going to end up as immigrants on a ship back to Ireland. Oh my God, Becky gasped. What if they do not hire us? They have to take us. We are legacies. We have Wellman plastics in our blood. Well, that is probably just from the tap water, Becky said. Let us look at this positively. It is a new beginning. Aunt Jackie started here, and she owns a restaurant. That is something to be proud of. Inside the lunchbox, Jackie was serving sandwiches. Sandwiches. Who wants to call it a Puma sandwich here? Well, maybe our kids will do something great. At Wellman Plastics, Darlene and Becky were finally on the assembly line, wearing hairnets and lab coats. Well, here we go, Darlene said. Laverne and Shirley. Do. We're not going to make it. At least Laverne and Shirley worked in a brewery and could chug a beer once in a while, Becky reminded her. Well, we get free travel-size bottles, Darlene said, holding up a small plastic container, which will come in handy if any other country ever lets Americans in again. All right, come on, Becky said. Let us just be happy we are working. Wait, how old were Laverne and Shirley supposed to be when they had these jobs? Round 22, Darlene said. Oh crap, Becky laughed. The whole family was gathered in the living room that evening. The lights were low, and a single cake sat on the coffee table. We have been stuck in this house for months, Dan said, looking at his family. We needed something to celebrate. So I found something special about today. Go ahead and guess. Thomas Edison applied for a patent for the light bulb? Darlene guessed. No, Dan said. There was a giant earthquake in Uzbekistan. Becky suggested. Good, but no, Dan smiled. It is National Reptile Awareness Day. The room was silent for a moment. It is also my birthday, Mark said quietly. We knew that, honey. Becky cried, pulling him into a hug. Happy birthday. Is that my cake? Mark asked, pointing to the lizard decoration on top. Well, it sure is, birthday boy, Dan said. Why is there a lizard on it? That is because of your nickname when you were a baby, Jackie explained. We called you Iguana. Iguana tell you happy birthday, Dan shouted, and the house was filled with the sound of laughter, a sound more precious than anything they had lost. The end.